राहुल गांधी के अभी कोलंबिया यूनिवर्सिटी में दिए गए इंटरव्यू को लेकर बहुत मिस इन्फॉर्मेशन फैलाई जा रही है। कई बायस्ड इन्फ्लुएंसर्स ने इस पर वीडियोस बनी और रॉन्ग ओपिनियंस प्रमोट करे। मैं पॉइंट जिस पर इन्होंने राहुल को क्रिटिसाइज करा वही गलत था। राहुल से पूछा गया कि इज इंडिया एंड चाइना रेडी टू टेक द रोल ऑफ लीडिंग द वर्ल्ड। इसके रिस्पॉन्स में राहुल ने कहा, आई डोंट नो ऑफ चाइना बट इंडिया डोंट सी इटसेल्फ एज अ लीडिंग द वर्ल्ड, but we believe in partnership and have weight responsibility. Now अब इस पार ये influencers कह रहे हैं कि he is tarnishing India's image. ये लोग समझ ही नहीं पाए what he meant by saying India don't see itself as world leader. He meant India is not arrogant and don't see itself as hegemon, but believe in multilateral and multipolarity supporter. India wants to be voice of global SouthNet security provider and a promoter of multipolarity and multilateral world, and for that it can't portray as hegemon. यही तो सर जयशंकर ने अपनी बुक थे इंडिया वे में भी लिखा है पढ़ लेना, स्पेशली चैप्टर 3, 4, 5 द टॉक ऑफ चेंजेस इन वर्ल्ड, इंडियाज पोजिशन, इंडियाज ऑप्शन इफ सेट टू बी वन ऑफ लीडिंग पावर इन मल्टीलैटरल एंड मल्टीपोलर वर्ल्ड। दूसरी बात जो ये कह रहे हैं कि वो चाइना के फेवर में बात कर रहे थे, पूरा इंटरव्यू सुन लेना। राहुल्स मेन फोकस was on how India's rise is sure, but in a different way than Chinese rise with a different system. He pointed out the difficulties in the way like current attacks on institutions. AB इस point को लेकर भी ये influencers rant कर रहे हैं कि why he said that. But राहुल ने तो pro-democracy sentiment भी highlight किया था और current issues बताए थे और positive side भी at various occasion in his address at the event. Now अब वो देख लो जो ये नहीं दिखाएंगे.
India is going to be a quite relevant country in the world in the next future. I mean, if you see the numbers of growth in India, if you compare that to China, I mean, you see that India has a lot of future. I mean, is becoming quite relevant in the world. So what's your view about India, and what are the kind of things that you are saying in India in order to have that leadership in the world?
I think, of course, India has tremendous potential. It's 1.4 billion people, the size, I mean, bigger than China now in terms of population. But India is a completely different system than China. So whereas China is very centralized, uniform, India is decentralized, and has multiple languages, multiple cultures, multiple traditions, multiple religions. So India is a much more complex system, and India's strengths, which exist, are not necessarily China's strengths. They're different. So they're big systems, but they're different and they operate differently. India also has a very old tradition, spiritual tradition, and a thought system. Very profound and old ideas that are very useful in today's world. The idea of non-violent political action comes from deep within Indian tradition. Mahatma Gandhi was a modern exponent of that. So there's a lot that India can offer to the world in terms of our tradition, our way of thinking, information technology, our engineering capability, our healthcare system. So I'm very optimistic about India. But at this Indian public higher education has been a big success. India hasn't done so well. Well, a lot of states in India haven't done so well in the primary education sector. Some states have done very well. But a large number of our successes in education are government.
And talking about the doctors, I was reading Bill Gates said that in 20 years with artificial intelligence, you will not have doctors because, I mean, all the diagnosis could be better done by using artificial intelligence. What's your view about artificial intelligence and medicine?
I think a lot of the thinkers in the West have this, everything or nothing idea, right? That doctors will disappear if AI comes, right? There's sort of, and it's common. I remember when computers were coming, it'll destroy jobs. So there is this tendency in the West to see, in black and white. I don't think that's how it works. Computers took away jobs, and then they created a whole new set of jobs. In the same way, I think AI will take away some jobs. It'll create a whole new set of jobs. And the country or the people who are positioned well will benefit. So I think in terms of the impact of AI, I mean, I'm glad the West says that it's going to remove all the jobs. I'm looking forward to getting most of those jobs to India. So there is a...
But are India and China ready to take that leadership for the world in the next 50 years?
Look, I don't know about China, but I don't think India sees itself as taking leadership in the world. I don't think that's not our model, right? We are a large country, and we believe in having a partnership. And we are not arrogant enough to believe that we should lead the world, right? Every country has its own perspective, every region has its own perspective, and I think there is a lot of scope for working together and a lot of scope for partnership. But the idea that India is going to lead the world, I don't think that is how India views itself. Maybe the Chinese think differently on this. But India, I don't think, has an intention to one day lead the world. We understand that we are a big country, a large country, and we have a weight. We understand that we have a responsibility. We understand that we should behave in a particular way. And of course, we want prosperity for our people. We want our people to succeed. We want our people to work. But I don't think we see ourselves as leading the world. There are also fault lines within the Indian structure. There are risks that India has to overcome.
Which are those risks that you see?
The single biggest risk is the attack on democracy that is taking place in India. Because India has multiple religions, multiple traditions, multiple languages, and India actually is a conversation between all its people. And different traditions, different religions, different ideas require space. And that the best method for creating that space is the democratic system. And currently there is a wholesale attack on the democratic system in India. So that's a risk. This other big risk.
That's the reality. Don't take these biased influencers seriously and don't follow them.